Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39 narrates a cataclysmic war purportedly orchestrated by Gog from Magog against Israel, a passage that has long been a subject of scholarly debate. One prevailing interpretation ties it to a millennial event during the tribulation before Christ's second coming, as per premillennialism. Central to this interpretation are the notions of Rosh and Meshech, often assumed to be Russian place names, leading to the identification of Gog as Russian. Moreover, the reference to the invasion from the remote parts of the north assumes as aligning geographically with Russia's position north of Israel. However, we propose a different approach to understanding Ezekiel 38-39. Rather than fixating on the tribulation period, let's explore how God's restoration plan for Israel unfolded in the Old Testament. By considering this progressive unfolding, we gain a unique temporal perspective on the events described in Ezekiel. One key contention challenges the conventional link between Gog and Russia. The debate hinges significantly on the interpretation of Ezekiel 38:2, specifically the term Rosh. Historically, Rosh lacks a direct connection to Russia, as it primarily translates to chief or chief prince. The use of the name Rosh as a reference to a specific group of people is not seen throughout the whole of the Old Testament. The other names in the passage are more accurately associated with Middle Eastern ethnic groups than specific geographic locations. Additionally, the phrase remote parts of the north, often used to argue for Russia, demands closer scrutiny. A thorough analysis of the Hebrew text reveals that remote parts of the north, or Yarkate Sapon, does not necessarily point to Russia at a far northern distance from Israel. Instead, it signifies an elevated or exalted place, possibly closer to Israel in the context of military advancement. This understanding aligns with similar language used in Jeremiah, where Babylonia, though technically to the east of Israel, was perceived as a northern threat. When we consider linguistic nuances, historical contexts, and geographic data, the claim that Gog represents Russia loses its footing. The passage's intended meaning revolves around an international conflict with Gog as the primary antagonist, leading an array of nations. The geographical roots of the biblical names place the events within the territories of Turkey, northern Iraq, Libya, Sudan, and Iran, not Russia. It is noteworthy to acknowledge that the regions in question now fall within the classification of Islamic nations and territories. In essence, a fresh examination of Ezekiel 38-39 prompts a revaluation of the traditional Western interpretations. By delving into the Old Testament's restoration themes and conducting a meticulous textual analysis, we question the notion of Gog of Magog as a Russian figure or nation leading a distant invasion. Instead, the focus shifts to a closer Middle Eastern, a more immediate threat, redefining our understanding of this prophetic account. The discourse questions established interpretations and paves the way for a deeper exploration of the true meaning behind the enigmatic Gog and Magog narrative. Yes, the interpretations of Gog and Magog vary significantly, based on religious, historical, and geopolitical perspectives. While the biblical accounts provide some details, the exact identity and nature of Gog and Magog remain open to discussion. However, it is crucial to bear in mind that the biblical narrative is Middle Eastern-centric and primarily focuses on Israel. It is important for individuals to have an open mindset as devout followers of God, allowing themselves to be receptive to the guidance of the Holy Spirit, and refraining from being entangled in rigid and inflexible interpretations of end-time eschatological doctrine. It has been observed that a significant number of Western biblical scholars who specialize in prophetic interpretations sometimes exhibit a dogmatic inclination while analyzing Russia, leading them to conform to a similar viewpoint without solid proof. Regrettably, individuals in Western societies may readily harbor prejudice due to the frequent portrayal of Russia as an adversary. Occasionally, persons may unintentionally form a biased understanding of eschatology and biblical perspectives because of this phenomenon. Now, there is a possibility that Russia may potentially participate in the prophesied Ezekiel 38-39 conflict involving Israel. However, upon closer examination, it becomes evident that the references made by the prophet Ezekiel may not pertain to Russia. And it is important to acknowledge that the veracity of this narrative remains uncertain and lacks definitive confirmation. In the end, be diligent to present yourself approved to God, a worker who does not need to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe to Grace to Prophecy Network.